Hello and welcome to Sharing Jewish Wisdom.
Hello, and welcome back to Sharing Jewish Wisdom. And I'm pleased to say that Reb Shlomo's back with us this week.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
And to you too, or to see you nice if you prefer. And happy Chanukah to all our wonderful, loyal viewers.
Lovely. Good. So last week, Reb Shlomo spoke about the Seder of Vayishlach. And in our previous video, we spoke about Chanukah, which I hope you'll all be celebrating this Thursday. Now, there's an aspect of Chanukah that Reb Shlomo is going to tell us about today, and that is the subject of our video. So please carry on.
Thank you very much indeed. For those of you who just got a little bit excited and thought I was going to give you a recipe either for donuts or latkes, on this occasion, you're going to be a little bit disappointed. But hey, life's like that. Yes, it's Chanukah again, and what I'm going to talk about instead of the weekly Sedra is part of the davening that we add in, part of the prayers we say on Chanukah called Hallel. Now, Hallel may be something that's familiar to you, it may not, but by the end of this presentation, what you won't know about Hallel won't be worth knowing. So make sure you take notes, because when you're down at the pub quiz, it could be very useful. Do you not think?
Fine. Definitely.
Okay. So what is Hallel? Hallel is a group of Psalms 113 to 118, that we recite on special occasions, when I'll come to in a minute. And right through Chanukah, we add the Psalms of Hallel to the morning service. We don't say it in the afternoon or in the evening. And after the repetition of the Amidah, the central focal prayer that we say at that time, we then say Hallel. So you'll say to me, well, what is Hallel? What's it all about? Well, Hallel means praise. And the Psalms in particular, out of the 150 Psalms authored by King David, are particular Psalms of praise and thanksgiving. Now, of course, Chanukah in itself recalls the miracle of the finding of the oil and the rededication of the Beis Hamikdash, the temple, after the Hashmonaim, the Hasmoneans, defeated the enemy. So clearly that would be a time for praise and thanksgiving, but it's recited at other times. Now, the format may well have changed over the years, but if you want to look back to when it first gets a mention, you can go back as far, and let me get it correct for you, the Talmudical tract Pesachim at page 118. Now, the Talmud was completed in about the year 200 CE, so that goes back, shall we say, even before my time with this wonderful white beard. And there was a time before me, believe it or not. So, the purpose of saying Hallel is thanksgiving and praise, as we were saying. So let's look at when we actually recite it. We recite it on major occasions in the Jewish year. So starting from the beginning of the year calendar in Tishrei with Rosh Hashanah, we say it on Sukkot, we say it Shemini Atzeret, and of course Simchat Torah, because they're connected. Every day of Chanukah, we say it on Pesach, and we say it on Shavuot.
So what I was going to ask you was that it's strange that we say Hallel on, most of them are on Yom Tov, but why would they say it on Chanukah? Because it's not really a Yom Tov.
Well, that's an interesting question. Okay, I'll come back to that. Why we actually say it, I'll come back in a minute. And we also say it on Rosh Chodesh, the event of the new moon, but we only say it in part, an abbreviated version. Okay, so the ones I've mentioned, Sukkot, Shemini Atzeret, Chanukah, Pesach, and Shavuot, they are major occasions of the year for the reason I'll explain. Rosh Chodesh is what we might call a minor yontif in itself. So, for example, it's a tradition in certain circles that it's a holiday for ladies, and ladies don't, for example, do work like sewing or embroidery. It's a day off for them, and it's becoming increasingly a beautiful event. But ladies have their own Hallel group on Rosh Chodesh, and why not? Good for them. So that's how we do it. Now, how do we say Hallel? Well, we say it standing, and we say it only by day. We do it standing because it's, if you like, a mark of its importance in our liturgy and the respect we have for it. And it goes with the significance of the occasion.
And on Rosh Chodesh, it's a half Hallel, and on Yom Tov, it's a full Hallel. Is that
correct? Absolutely, perfectly correct. Yes. You've been looking up the books again. I tell you, you've got to watch
They're
him.
behind me. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, they are, aren't they? Yes. Well, there you are. You've got plenty to read. Okay. So, what is, if you like, the fundamental idea? We're talking about something called Hakoros Hatov, which I suppose we can translate, broadly speaking, into English as gratitude. How does this apply? Well, let's go, as I said we would, through the events. We'll start with Sukkot. Well, as we know, Sukkot recalls a time when the Almighty looked after us as we wandered through the Midbar, the wilderness, after leaving Egypt for 40 years. We had the Anonia covered, the clouds of glory that protected us in the wilderness, and it meant that the clothes that the Bnei Israel wore never wore out, and things went okay, shall we put it that way. Fine. So that's one reason to be grateful. Next, on Pesach, of course, we have the redemption from Egypt and being brought out of slavery. Every reason to be grateful again. We then have Shavuot. Well, of course, Shavuot is the anniversary of the giving of the Torah, and without the Torah, there will be no Judaism. So that's that. Now, let's come to Chanukah and your question. Chanukah wasn't instituted as a yontif in the Torah. There is what they call a remez to it, a hint in there, but it only became a yontif, Mark, a year or two after the event of the rededication of the temple. And when the sages saw that the rededication was effective and the enemies had in fact been finally defeated, and may all our enemies similarly be defeated, so then they decided to institute it as a yontif. Okay? And that's where it is. Let's come back to Rosh Chodesh that you mentioned. Now, of course, Rosh Chodesh, the new moon, was something that wasn't actually fixed. Our calendar wasn't fixed until Hillel II did it in, I think it was about the year 150 CE. And before then, as we know, the new moon was proclaimed by the Sanhedrin after witnesses came and gave evidence that they had seen the new moon. Now, that in itself was a fabulous event, because if they came during the daytime, that day was declared Rosh Chodesh. If they came after daylight, then the next day was declared Rosh Chodesh. But it depended on the declaration of the Sanhedrin. Now, the first real reference to a calendar appears in the book of Exodus, chapter 12, where it says, "Achodesh hazeh lochem Rosh Chodoshim," that this will be to you as a head of months. And there we're talking about the month of Nisan, because of course when we count months, we go Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, Tammuz. We go from there because that is the first of the months in line. So there you are. That is what we do and what we add in. And in saying Hallel, may our prayers be well received on high by the Almighty, and all our needs granted, our prayers responded. May Chanukah bring us much happiness and joy.
Amen.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Good. So, as we said earlier, we've got us another video that we've had running on Chanukah, so I'll put a link in the description below. And if you click on the link, you'll also receive our free Chanukah presentation, our free Chanukah flyer that Reb Shlomo has produced, with all the information about the candles and just the festival in general. And anything else you wanted to add?
Yes, let's remind people that if they would like to do so, they can subscribe and they can leave us some I likes and nice comments to these presentations, which I hope you will. And we look forward to seeing you next time.
Lovely. Good. Well, we wish you a happy Chanukah and a good Shabbos, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
All the best.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Please click the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel for some great content.